Hi everyone. Here comes Mister. Come on, Mims. Sit down, my buddy. So, get right to it. Today, I'm going to talk about a few things. It started with, I've had a few little light bulb ideas, realizations rather, over the past couple days. I'll bring this closer. Over the past couple days, and I woke up from a nap this afternoon. Yeah, I did. And just like with the word extraterrestrial, after I had seen the Terra Infinita map, and I realized it looked like a giant cell. Yeah, it did. Long story short, I decided, I thought to myself, what's the definition of extraterrestrial, but separately, the words extra and terrestrial. So I looked that up. And it meant extra land, more land. And so that's when I got the idea about extra land dwellers, called them that. I mean, it flows well, extra land dwellers. Extra land livers doesn't work so well, so I came to that. And it was almost like my mind opening up, like a flower blossoming, opening up to a new idea. And like I was saying, I mentioned this before, where in the eternity, in the beyond, after we leave these bodies and pass on, it's very important to be able to adapt to certain situations, places, and things. So it's good for your mind and your consciousness to have experienced many things before going out there, because it is very, what's that word? It doesn't stay constant. It's ever changing. And it very much depends and reflects upon your thoughts and emotions, what you experience out there. So that's why before you leave this body, it's important to get things right within your consciousness, right? So that your compass works properly to direct you where you need to go, or where you want to go. Like I mentioned this a few times. There's important questions that every person should be able to answer at a certain point. Who are you? Where are you? And where are you going? And I heard that from Santos Bonacci, okay? Unfortunately, his channel is gone, but I do have a video where I posted some of his earlier work that was saved on another channel. So, then what happened is today when I woke up from a nap, like I was saying, that happened to me again. Same thing about extraterrestrial, but I was like, do I even really know or remember what the definition of custodian is? I remember over the years, because I had a Dolores Cannon book, I actually sent it to someone and as a gift. I didn't really need it, and I thought that she would benefit much more from it. But because she is a creator, in a sense. Yeah, creator, yeah. And in her perspective, right, she talked about them being teachers and caretakers and all that. So I went and I pulled up the definition. It's this one here. Okay. Custodian, noun. One that has charge of something, a caretaker. 2, a janitor. right? And that's kind of funny because it's like cleaning up a mess, right? 3, one who has the care or custody of anything, as a library, a public building, a keeper or guardian. That's the actual definition. Now, looking at it from both angles, right? Both perspectives. What is this? An alfalfa. That's what I call that. When one hair is sticking up like that. Okay. So looking at it from both polarities, let's say, because that is on the list. I made a little list of things that I need to talk about, or would like to talk about. So, so in the polarity of perspective, like looking at it, okay, and let me address this before I say this, because I think people get caught up in their emotions. They shut videos off, they won't listen, and I think it's very important to hear a person out before making an assumption, letting your emotions take control of you. Remember, it's important and vital that you have a balanced heart and mind. But I am very much aware. Okay, hold on. Because after I said that, now I forget. Okay, so I mentioned, oh, right. Okay, both polarity of perspective. Right. Oh, yeah. So, okay, so there's this thing, and I experienced this myself, and it was one of the things that, what do you call that? I'm seeing, you know, in cartoons when they strap a carrot on a stick and it's dangling and the person, like Bugs Bunny, is chasing it? It was kind of like that. It was kind of like, what I'm trying to describe is, I think it's human nature when we see negative, terrible things and things that don't make sense, we want to, and I'm not excusing it, I'm not saying it's not happening or doesn't exist. I mean, I've thought that these people are so messed up that they make things up just to mess with us, okay? But hear me out. So, oh, I lost it again. Oh, about this entity that we are chasing, the evil that we like to destroy and to seek it out. And that almost acted like the carrot on the string, where I just kept chasing it, yes? And I think that it's a natural process to go through. I'm not saying that these things don't exist. When one, if you do not realize all the darkness, you won't be able to truly see the light, the polarities, right? You won't know what's truly good if you don't know the bad. You won't know what's right if you don't know what's wrong. Examples like that. Okay, I hope this makes sense. But so about the polarities of perspective, from Dolores Cannon's point of view, and from her experience, the custodians were guardians, caretakers, teachers, you know, like of this earth school. I remember this. I don't remember all of it, a little bit. Like, that's been helpful to know, even just to remember just little bits and pieces of the things that I need so this all flows together. You don't need to remember a whole thing. I don't know Dolores Cannon's birthday or where she's from or like any of those things, or you know, I remember about the 3 waves of volunteers, different things that she's talked about, you know, which I've learned from. So with her, if you listen to her, she's talking about the custodians. They're the same people, okay? It's not anybody different. It could possibly be, because it might be a word that she associated with a certain group of individuals. But it's the same people like here. custodians, huh? Now, they might be shitty caretakers. That's very likely. But as I was saying, there is this thing, and I remember, this was one of the things. When I wake up in the morning, I always have my best thoughts, and then when I wake up from a nap. The past couple of days, though, I've been waking up, and when I go to work and everything, and I'm on my way, and I'm like, I like to look out the window, look at the sky, and think about things, and I've been having those wonderful childhood memories come back to me. But, speaking of that, there was something that my adopted mother told me, and she would say this often, and I always remembered it because it's very true, that the moment you name evil, it changes its face. It will always be something else. Even if you defeat it here, it's going to show up somewhere else. I struggled so hard. I wanted to help everybody more than anything. I got down on my knees, praying and crying, telling God that, look, just give me 24 hours. Let me take care of all the evildoers, which included, like, the cult and all of this stuff, right? I didn't even know who all it would be or how I was going to do it, but I was going to try. Over the years, I racked my brain trying to plan, figure out, whatever, trying to fix it. You know what I mean? It's not that I was doing it out of hate. I just felt so much suffering going on. I really wanted to help. So this is how I came to these conclusions, really thinking about it very hard. I've lost where I was again. But even if God was like, all right, Lace, here you go, and I could go and do that for you. Another reason was, and I know this is part of my CPTSD. I know I'm very self-aware, painfully self-aware, most of the time. It's mostly just irritating. Well, you become grateful, and I'll get to that part. But I did it again. Uh-oh. Hold on. Good, I remembered. So even if I could go and do that for you, say that I eliminated every evil asshole on the planet, and we all woke up tomorrow, and it was like da na 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 woo da na 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 na. The birds are singing their fucking rainbows. I got bad news. What happens is that because of the reincarnation cycle, and you won't want this. Even if it does happen, right, that way, what happens is they'll reincarnate. They'll either be a problem for us again, or our descendants, or somebody else, somewhere else. Do you really want to curse them with that? I don't. I don't want to put that on anybody else. Other people have already gone through it, apparently. Oh, I was so upset when I found out. Well, I mean, just hearing that about Mars, it's in the Lands of Mars. It's one of Claudio Nocelli's books, 178 Worlds Under the Dome, Lands of Mars. When I read that, it wasn't chapter 15, it's on page 15. I think I messed up one time. I talked about this before. Page 15, because look at it again. And what happened there? Even if it, regardless of whether it's true or not, if that was the situation, that's horrific. And I cried because that's probably one of the greatest sacrifices, but it's like you'd rather die than be taken over by people like this. Like, no, you're gonna have to kill us. Like, but it... See, just to mention about that, the reason why that was so relevant to me is because when I saw that book and I read the chapter list, the part about the lands of Mars, I guess I'll just go grab it. I only brought one. I'm eventually going to sit down and show you all the books that I've read and learned from or whatever, but this is the one here I'm talking about. And, The Red Planet Stained with Innocent Blood. And you know, there's something important that I heard over the years, because as I was learning about the stuff that the cult does, and also known as, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Illuminati, the adrenochrome drinkers, I was really upset because I couldn't understand why they were doing this. Like I'm like, God, what's wrong with them? I could not understand it myself. That's what I meant. And I was scrolling through, I forget where, I think it might have been Telegram at the time. And there was a picture that was posted on one of the channels that I was part of, and it said, if you truly do not understand something, it means that it's not in you. Thank God, right? I was like, oh, you know. Not that I was worried about that, but I was satisfied with that answer, because I really didn't understand, and I still don't. I don't. I mean, other than the thing about power and like feeling powerful and like above somebody else or whatever like that, I get that part of it, I guess. But the point is that there is some things that I do understand, especially because of my past life and the type of person that I was there. Speaking of the reincarnation cycle, though, before we move on, but I think that oh no, I didn't finish yet, but I will. But the reincarnation cycle. One of the reasons why I chose Last Minute Lacey is not only because I always show up at the last minute for everything. I'm really trying to work on that, but it's been a nickname that multiple people that don't know each other have given me, because it's always the last minute. I'm always doing things at the last minute. But another reason, I forgot again. Oh yeah. Is that one of the most difficult memories that I had to deal with, past life memories, that I didn't really understand, and it made me feel a whole bunch of ways over my lifetime. But I remember, believe me or not, I don't care, it's the metaphor of it that truly matters anyway, like the moral of the story. But as I was dying, I realized I made a very bad mistake. Like I made the wrong choice. And I changed my heart. I was truly repentful of what I had done before I took my last few breaths. And even at the last fucking minute, sorry about my language. Sorry, God. God's like, I'm used to it. I'm really not a bad person just because I say the F word. I know I'm trying, okay? Because I know people get offended by stronger language like that. It's just powerful language. That's all. I'm sorry. But oh, the last few breaths, right. I changed my heart. If you're connected to source, it's always gonna know. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I did that, or it's gonna know. It knows everything you think and feel. It's a part of you. It is you, in a sense. A mirror reflection. You are of it. So it's not like God's not gonna know. However, what word you want to choose to use is up to you. I don't care. To refer to the Most High, the Divine Creator, the Supreme Being. There's tons of different, like it's called the Supreme Being in the Gods of Eden, and I think in the Flame of the Initiates, or the Secret Teachings here. You know, but it's the same force under different names. That's why they say God has so many different names, yeah? But because I changed my heart, I was allowed another chance. So because I made that connection, and I was always connected to source, and well, clearly free will, right? And I made a mistake, okay? Several, but we'll talk about that another time. I was able to have another chance. So source hears this, like as I'm dying, that I'm truly repentful, that, it's genuine, that I'm asking for mercy, because I've made a terrible choice. And it was granted. And how that worked out was that it wasn't right away. It was several ages later, let's say. But I was put back off the wheel and back into, physical life again. And I was given another chance, to correct those things I've experienced, and not in the same way. But like I was saying, the things that I remember from my past life is stuff that I had to deal with in this life, but it wasn't the same. It never happens the same way. So I get the lesson again, and I just have to deal with it differently, almost like retaking a test, okay? This is why it's soul school. So you don't pass the test the first time. That I died, I didn't have any more time to go back and retake it. Now I'm back again to retake these things so that I can ascend through soul school, put in my grades, and graduate. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Because really, we could talk all day. Well, not really, because I only know so much. I can only talk about it so much, right? Because I only have bits and pieces of the things that were relevant for me in this life to deal with, right? The reason why I figured it out is because over the years, listening to people talking about the antediluvian age, the pre-biblical age, I was like, oh man, look, that sounds like the stuff I remember. And the more and more I did, I was like, oh God, it was quite an experience. And then, you work with what you've got. So you come to the conclusion, well, it had to be then. It had to be there. It's not like God opened the clouds and was like, yeah, you came from the antediluvian age. Bye. You know what I mean? But that's the only thing I could work with, And it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you learn from the past. The whole point of this is that to let you know that what I said is valid. Even if we eliminated them all, they'd just be back. The greatest thing you could ever witness, and I witnessed it with myself, is the power of change. The change of heart and mind. It's a beautiful thing. It's a miracle. That's true salvation right there. That's what saves you. From yourself. And so, on the topic of, so we've talked about Dolores Canada and them being caretakers and teachers, trying to, because there's the perspective of, well, even if they did give us all the religions, like it says in the Gods of Eden, the Anunnaki and the Custodians or whatever, well, I'm sure they intended us to use them properly. And what it says is the reason why different regions were given different, because it doesn't matter which faith, it's about the worship of God, the supreme being, the glory of God. That's what it's about. So it says, I think it's in here, that they were all different denominations or whatever, different faiths were given for those individuals' best development, for what they needed most. I don't think it was, yes, I understand the control and divide part. But think of it, if you're setting up a school, and let's just say that you're not an evil asshole. Well, I think that you did it hoping for the best outcome. Like, okay, well, hopefully they'll follow these religions, do unto others and all that, and it'll be all right. I think it's, what did my friend say? I had talked about this, about mentioning the part about, I thought it was so weird and odd, and that's why it was suspicious, that when I heard, and forgive me if I'm not correct, but when I heard that the Archangel Gabriel not only shows up in Christianity and tells them, as I think he's the messenger, tells them about, religious stuff that way, but he goes to the Muslim peoples and tells them about that, with Muhammad and all that, huh? Peace be upon them both, Jesus and Muhammad, huh? But look, I thought that was so weird. It's almost like they want them to fight, huh? I don't know why. Where did I pick that up? I don't know. But if you look at it from different perspectives, different sides, like I just said, I mentioned that to my friend. He lives downstairs. And he goes, well, they probably didn't intend us to use it this way. Like we were supposed to be good. Now, I'm not going to deny that there is this, and I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you take out this one, that one, the whole friggin' Rothschilds, doesn't matter. There's going to be somebody else that steps up into that place. The only way to truly take care of it, like I said, is to change the heart and the mind so that those things don't even occur to you. Like I said, I don't understand why they do it, what they get from it. The greatest thing is the richness of the soul. The only thing you can take with you is your consciousness, so I don't know. I don't understand it at all. And I also ranted on and said, you know, if it was that going over the ice wall, and yeah, I know they say, yeah, these people go to Mars, but I don't want to be out there with any of them. Well, Lady Gaga and Beyonce are in fucking Mars having the time of their lives after they did this shit? No. You know? I don't understand it. But here's the thing. Because the last thing on the list here, I didn't mean for this to be first, but I guess it is about forced evolution. That's what initiation is. And I remember, just like with Pikachu here and Sailor Moon, I don't know why. I think it's Pikachu because he's got the one eye. But I remember Sailor Moon. She does this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? 3 and 3. And it was kind of like this satanic agenda thing. No, it's not. When I was watching Sailor Moon, I understand the forced evolution part. I don't really quite grasp the why. I have a little bit of idea, but I don't even want to touch it. I did once in my Wise as Serpents video the other day about the divine creator reabsorbing his universe from time to time. Okay? But the forced evolution part is that, look, if I didn't see Sailor Moon, I wouldn't have remembered. Okay, what happened was, I will never forget this, is that I was watching Sailor Moon. I was about 9 or 10 years old, and it was the part when Sailor Moon and the other Senshi soldiers, her, you know, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, they all go to the moon, and they talk to Sailor Moon's mom. It's her spirit energy, saved just enough of her spirit power in her consciousness before she moved on, to tell them that they had all died on the moon, but they were reborn on Earth to have a second chance to save the place. Like what would happen when I was talking about previously, how Mars and how they sacrificed themselves, and now here. Because that apparently was a taken over territory. Okay? So basically that's what happened in Sailor Moon. There was a dark force that comes, invades the moon, destroys the moon kingdom, kills them all, establishes themselves there, and then is now after the Earth. But because of, you know, and because the light forces are always at work, they sent those girls, their consciousness, their energy bodies, they were all reborn, to have a second chance to defeat that evil, okay? And I knew. I didn't know the word reincarnation. They said reborn. In the English version. That's what I watched when I was just a kid. I have seen the original Japanese version, which I love much more, and I would always recommend it. It's got subtitles. If you can read them. People just are a bit, well, lazy. Most cases. But look, you're missing out on the experience, right? If I didn't see that at that age, it wouldn't have triggered these things. It didn't happen naturally, no. Did the creator of Sailor Moon know that? I don't know. It was her creation that she came up with from source. There's so much symbolism, like the union of heaven and earth, which is the most vital. Heaven being Sailor Moon, being the princess of the moon, and her divine union partner, which was the Prince of Earth, the union of heaven and earth. Okay? It's very romantic and beautiful. I will always love Sailor Moon. But yeah, there's a lot of symbolism in it. And it helped open me up to both sides, too, because I always thought, I didn't know where it was, but ever since I was little, I was like, you know what? No one believed me, but I would say this. I think the world's ruled by evil. And they'd be like, oh, your head's in the clouds. You watch too much TV. You need to stop playing video games. I was right. Not showing off or anything, but I was right. And it was for shows like this that helped me to remember. And then it triggered, like I talked about before, the fact that I didn't know who they were, where they were, what they looked like, but through a conscious link, whether it be telepathic or by thought or feeling, okay, in an energetic sense, because it's like a gut feeling. That's what it means. Your energy center and your power center, and that's where your intuition is. Well, it's gut feeling, right? You feel it in your gut, and there's a reason why. When I experienced telepathy, I called it an energetic text message because you feel it in your gut first, in the solar plexus. But I knew that there was a group of superheroes out there. And I know that sounds funny. Don't think like dun dun dun, dun Superman or Spider-Man. It's not like that, even though they could do those things, I'm sure. But I knew that they were out there. And lo and behold, I forget which book it says. Either it's this one or this one. I can't remember. But it literally says supermen and superwomen. They are superheroes. I was right. But I do understand that whether it be through the Creator itself to try to fix the mess, I don't know. Because, like I was saying about janitors, I always felt like it was funny that I always had cleaning jobs because I always felt like I was here to help clean up the mess. So I'm doing it like physically cleaning up messes and spiritually cleaning up messes. See what I'm saying? Like both sides of it. Like the red and the blue. And that's what it says in initiation. And that might be part of it, you know? Was Nyaku Takeuchi a fucking secret society member? Probably not. Okay? Probably not. That was her creation. Just like what Claudio did. That was his creation with all this. Maybe this is his experience like Elena Demna. Where's her book? There it is. Like she experienced it this way. Right? Before I turned this camera on my YouTube homepage, there's a picture apparently taken by NASA that's an infrared picture of the universe. First of all, how the fuck did they get that? Unless it's like a CGI image that's like a representation. I don't know. I just read like that was so. But okay. But if you. I think I'll be able to put a link to what I'm talking about, and I've seen it used before. But if you look at it, it does look like a bunch of little universes all spread out, you know, like little clusters, and I guess that's what little galaxies, I guess, all over the place. Looks like a bunch of cells spread out. And that's why it talks about in these books about it being this giant celestial body. I talked about this in my last video, but I don't remember if that was the one that I need to review and post yet, or I've already posted it. And all of us, like, being little worker cells. Sometimes the immune system is like the doctors and all of that, you know? Because they're for healing. And then there's waste management and all of that. There's actually movies that, kids' movies, they talk about that. A lot of, I think it's not an allegory. It's where you use something like how the story of King Arthur with the sword and the stone, and talks about that in the Initiates of the Flame, but using stories to tell spiritual truth, spiritual universal truth. And I think that's what all of this is, whether it's Dolores Cannon, Elena Danaan, or Claudia Nocelli. You know? Okay. So if it wasn't for all that, I wouldn't have gotten here. And I'm grateful. But like I was saying about the enemies within and without, that's the whole point about mentioning all this stuff about the custodians and Anunnaki. According to, what's his name? Stitchin, I think it is, says that it means like those who descended from heaven to earth. So, technically, if you come from a higher dimension and you go to a lower one, you fell. So maybe that's, you know, why people will associate them with a fallen angel. But if you look at it from a different perspective, is it a sacrifice to leave your home to come down and help another group of people, especially when you've already graduated this earth school? It's definitely not easy to come back. As my vibration increases, it's difficult to deal with some people that are, let's say, lower on the stages of, or levels of, initiation. It's not that I'm looking down upon them, it's just, you know, it's difficult to, I do it though. So I can only imagine what it's like for these beings. It was probably very difficult for them. Like, that's why they say, we were just like you at one time. Well, yeah, because they graduated Earth School and moved on to the higher colleges and universities. And they have different jobs now. And they deal with, like, the evolution and the planning of civilizations and how to create more people like them. These ascended beings in our spirit bodies and all that, so that our consciousness can remain to do whatever out there. They probably need more employees. I get that. So, I'm really trying to be qualified and up for the job, because I really want to join them, just like I've always said it. I've always thought ever since I was a little kid, like, I definitely want to join those superheroes. I always thought that I would, and at times, I was very heartbroken that they didn't come and rescue me when I needed them the most. But now, I understand why they couldn't. Why, like, I wouldn't want them to now. Like, as a child, yeah, and growing up. But it had to be that way for me to be like this now. You can't change anything. Or it wouldn't be like this now, and I love who I am now. It's not easy living my life, but I love who I am. And I'm grateful. So, well, anyway, I hope that helped. Now I'm going to have to save the other topics for another video. I meant to leave this part. I was like, okay, well, I'll cover this, that, this, and that, and I'll leave the custodians and the forced evolution for later because that's going to take longest. Ha! I'll leave you with this. Regardless, oh, I got some yogurt. Regardless of what you think about the Asuras, you don't need to worry about it because it wasn't for you, it was for me. I needed them as teachers, okay? Whole other topic of them, but this is relevant to what I was just talking about, is that there's such a need, and I understand why. It would be really nice, to wake up and have all the assholes be gone. But the Asuras, many years ago, when I had Facebook, it's gone now. Like with my actual name, it's gone now. But they got me to ask people some questions. And I'm going to warn you, when I ask, don't answer it until you're ready. Because I'll already tell you what the answer is. I already have. But it's a trick question. They're smart. Woo! I never seen anything like it. But they go, ask them how they feel if tomorrow when they woke up, all the assholes were gone. So I did. Everybody loved that. They wanted that. And then after a while, they said to me, because I wanted that, said to me, well, how do you know that you're not on that list? Or somebody else's list that defines you as evil? And I thought, oh, like I said, even if I could go do that for you right now in the whole world and take care of all the evil, everybody we've ever seen who took part in the concealment of these secret teachings and ancient mysteries, like the God's Greatest Mystery School, take them all out. They'll be back, or somebody else will stand in their place. It happens all the time. It's just the way it goes. It is a cycle. And the greatest thing about it, remember, is the power of change of the heart and mind, because that's what stops it forever. Because once you're there and you realize how bad it is and how terrible it feels to be on the negative polarity of things, you don't ever go back. It changes you forever. So that's what eliminates it. Is there anything else about that? About the app? Oh. Well, it's 49 minutes. And I think I've talked enough. I'm going to review my other video too. Goodness, it's going to be like, I think that one's close to Oh, I almost choked. But I touch on the creators thing, and oh, yeah. I think I do have to post that one. But yeah, so the next time, we'll talk about 1 + 1 = 3, referring to creation. Oh, we'll talk about the extreme polarities of fire and ice and how it relates to the positive and negative cosmic forces of life and the universe. And also, the poles, those black and white poles that I have showed you several times from the Initiates of the Flame. There. Okay? Okay. Yes. That's what I. Oi! That guy's wearing a blue jumper. Let's get him. Yeah. You know, that's from a movie called Eurotrip. I'll leave you with this. Eurotrip. And so it's like with Manchester United and Liverpool, it's like the blue and the red. You know, and they're fighting each other. I just thought of that as like a physical reflection of these two energetic forces that, and really what it comes down to is the Kundalini snakes, the two Ida and Pingala, or whatever that is, and they're, it's the two cosmic forces. And so, like I had mentioned, one of my previous videos about the two wolves, excuse me, one being of the dark and one being of the light, and whatever one wins is the one that you feed. There was that I mentioned. But that's all how it's all a reflection of something else. Everything inside of you, there's a reflection of it outside of you, and vice versa. So outside of you, it's inside of you also. So, yeah. We will talk about the Asuras someday soon. When I'm able to fully control my thoughts and emotions about the whole thing. That's important because when I realized when I realized that Claudio Nocelli is a creator and I'm an observer, I was pretty upset. I mean, we can all be those things. In fact, we can all be those things simultaneously at the same time. A follower, a creator, and an observer all at once. But I don't know. Just because it's not my choice that I make, clearly I still have some feelings about it. Just because I didn't choose that way to take the inner universe to teach about the outer universe. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's terrible. It helped a lot. So it's just one of those things you have to, I guess, go in between the balance of it. Like it says, you need to go between the poles because every extreme is dangerous. Okay? All right, I love you. I hope this has been good and helpful. And you know what? I don't care if you share my videos. I don't care if you take these ideas, because ideas change the world. I don't care if you take the things that I've said and go repeat them like you made it up. You're always going to know you didn't anyway, and that you heard it off somebody else. You may not remember, because I know this for me. That's why I tell you if I've heard it off somebody else, because I fucking know I did, and God knows it as well. So, but I don't care. As long as they know. Like, even if you're like, hey, you ever think about how we're in a giant school for souls? Like, everybody? And maybe the aliens too? Go for it. I don't care. You know what I mean? As long as it opens the minds of individuals for their greatest benefit. And you know what? If the Freemasons or whatever came up with the idea of this forced evolution. Well, fuck, it worked. For me. And I have to say I'm grateful. I'm not saying that we're going to be friends or nothing like that. Oh yeah, this was funny. In my video that I recorded previously, I made a joke that I'm not going to repeat because it was fucking rude. Funny, but rude. So if you watch the previous video, you're going to hear the joke that I made about what the Freemasons do every Wednesday night. Okay? I am so sorry. I know that's rude. But if they are lighthearted and intelligent, they'll think this is funny anyway. Because I was mad and I was like, that's what they use. Hang on, I had to look it up. I needed to know what it was called. Hold on. I had to make this a littler square. Okay, here we go. I looked it up. The Freemason tools. And it's a compass, a level, and a square. So there's like a little thing that looks like tweezers, okay? That's what they grab their wieners with. And then with the little measuring thing, that's what they measure them with. I'll just tell you. I said every Wednesday night they all meet up in a big boys club and they measure their penises to see if they grew any bigger from the previous Wednesday. I'm sorry. But yeah, I was having a bit of a rant and I said that. And so I didn't know what the tools were called, but yeah, that makes it even funnier because they use the little what's it called? Whatever this thing is with, there's this thing and the thing on top of it, they could be used as tweezers. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, I laughed really hard after I said that, but I'm sorry. I don't want to make any enemies. I don't want to be rude. I'm not afraid of you or anything, but I definitely don't want to be making enemies out of people or offending people before I even know them, because I don't know Elena Denon. Never talked to the woman. She won't talk to me. The same thing about Claudio Nicelli or any of the other ones. I never talked to them. So how the fuck do I know? I don't know them. I touched on that a little bit in the other video. I'm really going to go now. I'm sorry. Okay, I love you. Have a good night. I'm going to go get another yogurt, to be honest, because that one wasn't enough. But my appetite came back. I'm doing really, really well with that. Thank God. And I've been eating a lot. So I don't really know why my body does that. It probably has something to do with this whole process about what's happening to me. But, yeah, okay, we'll talk next time, okay? I hope you've enjoyed this and it benefits from me. God damn it. Oh, sorry. It benefits you in a positive way, okay? Alright. Take care. It doesn't mean you're a bad person if you say the F word. Okay, I love you. Good night.